Hello, this is Mom, Grandma, Granny Paula, and I'm going to explain to you how I make my famous chicken nuggets. All right. I marinate them for one thing, and that's the secret to the taste and the flavor we have. But I take my chicken, I like chicken breasts only, boneless of course. I cut them into pieces that are about this size. Okay. So they're a forkful. They are on the end of a fork, and you can put them in your mouth, and they're almost one bite, not more than two. Back to the marinade. It's important. It's equal parts of Italian salad dressing and soy sauce. Go ahead and buy salad dressing. Buy the store brand. You don't want special flavors in it or anything. You just want Italian salad dressing. And then you want soy sauce. I prefer low sodium because the content of sodium is so high in it as it is. Equal parts. So maybe you're talking a couple of pounds, 2.5 pounds of cut up chicken breasts into bites. You would have probably a cup of each and put it in a bowl. Then you're going to add brown sugar. And this is probably about 1/8 of a cup of brown sugar. If you had a cup at each of these, you might put anywhere from 1/8 to 1/4 a cup of brown sugar in it. You'll learn as you cook. You can't ruin it unless you dump way too much brown sugar in it. All right? That's the prep. You could do that the night before and chill them overnight in the refrigerator covered. You could do them the morning of, etc. But a few hours at least. But there's no magic to how much time you put in it. Then you're going to season them later when you cook them with salt and the coating that goes on top of them, the coating that goes in them. Now we're going to look at cooking up these chickens. But what we do first is we bread them. This is flour and a sprinkle or so of Italian breadcrumbs, Italian style, or you could make them plain. Do not use panko because that's going to burn them. Use breadcrumbs. And then you need canola oil or your oil of choice. But you need canola oil just to fry them in. It's not going to go into anything else. So we've done the marinade. Then you have to drain them when you've marinated them. And I just do this whole, I put it all in a colander and over a bowl and squish them down just a little bit. They're not going to be dry. And then I transfer them to whatever container I have put my flour and my breadcrumbs in. This is my favorite container. You probably won't have one because this is an old Tupperware type thing. But you can take a Ziploc bag. It needs to be a big one that'll hold your meat and give you enough room to shake it. And I've already done this and given it a good shake a couple of times. And then I kind of sift it through my hands a little bit to get the excess flour off of it before I put them in. Otherwise you're making something like a hush puppy if you're not careful. That's it. All right. Okay, now we're ready to fry. I use a 12-inch skillet. I put somewhere about a 1/2 inch of oil in it because you need some depth. And I'm splattering it with just a drop of water to it. That tells me it's good and hot. I'm going to turn my fan on now. Then you got to drop these things fast, and you got to not burn your fingers. That's a skill you'll get if you cook long enough. I'm going to put them all in, fill the pan, and you'll see me doing a little shake of the pan to kind of keep them separated enough to get browned all the way around the edges. Salt them, and then it doesn't take, but the size I make them, it doesn't take but just minutes to have to turn these, brown them on the other side, make sure they're good and done, and then get them out of the pan. Liberal salt. And believe it or not, when I've had to cook these for the majority of the family, on some holiday or something, I have to do at least 4 pans of these because then they get eaten as hors d'oeuvres all day long. There's that little shape that kind of tucks some of them down. And then I go ahead and put a lid on them. But I gotta pick it up, look at it, turn them a little bit. This is a tip. When you're cutting the chicken breasts into pieces, if you cut them in a triangle, more like this, then you've got an edge that is a pointed edge that is easier to pick up and flip them than if they're round and you're chasing it around the pan and you need them flipped through and you got 40 in there you're going to flip anyway. So that's what I do. I'm going to check it frequently. It's not brown enough around the edges yet to need to be turning, but it is really close. If I use tongs for all of this. And that's how I open them. Smell good. Not quite brown enough. And I get ready for the next batch. These are ready to go, and I will shake these up quickly after that, and then that way I can turn the skillet off between batches, but turn it right back on and keep going in the same skillet. My pan sometimes heats unevenly, side to side. Don't know why, it doesn't matter. But I just go to where they're starting to get the brownest and start turning them. And turning them quickly is important, but don't burn yourself is also equally important to you. You can learn to do both at the same time. You know, maybe don't fill a pan as big as this. I don't know. Stay safe. Because by the time I get around this big circle, and then salt the other side, and just probably give them a few more, less than a minute maybe, not much more, then I'm needing to take them out. Okay, I've turned these to the other side quickly, salted them, and now I'm going to put the lid on them just for a minute or two and let them keep cooking, and then I'm going to drain them. I just prep usually a bowl, but it doesn't matter. I use paper towels to do some absorbing, and I'm going to, when I know they're done, I'm going to flip the flame off and start putting them in here real quickly. I'm going to check them again. I want them as brown on the underside, and if there's some unevenness in your skillet that allows something to be browner on one side, well then just start sashaying them around in the pan a little bit, and you can get them equal. They're not real big, they will be done, but make sure you don't take out anything too raw. That one's just not brown enough. Okay. It's pretty hard to take up more than 2 or 3 at a time. I just can't do it. And I do it with tongs. There might be another tool you find that you could use instead. This is what I do. Okay, I'm getting ready to take the last 4 pieces of chicken nuggets out of the skillet. They're done. That's all there is to it. Simple, lots of steps. Enjoy. I hope you take this recipe on into the next generation and the next generation. Love you.